Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really fascinating concept. AI steals value, not jobs. It's a deep dive into Tommy Yoshida's observation records. Okay, so our mission today isn't to just hand you a neatly packaged survival guide. Actually, we're going to do the opposite. We want to sit together with some of the unfinished thoughts from Yoshida's Japan and international editions. Let's kick things off with a question that's probably keeping, millions of people awake right now. If 90% of your daily tasks just vanish in the next 5 years, does your value drop to zero? I mean, you open any news site today and boom, it's just a wall of headlines screaming about the jobs AI is going to steal. But what if that whole premise is just wrong? What if, counterintuitively, your actual human value is about to skyrocket? And that brings us right to Yoshida's core thesis, which honestly completely flips the script. He says AI doesn't steal jobs, it steals value. You see, we have this habit of thinking about our job title as this permanent, solid thing, right? Like a concrete block. But Yoshida argues that a job title is really just a box, and inside that box is a very specific menu of the value you provide. So when a massive technological shift happens, the box itself doesn't necessarily get crushed. Instead, certain items on that menu inside the box, they just get handed over to a machine. To prove this isn't just some sci-fi fantasy, we can actually just look at history. Think about when ATMs first hit the streets. People absolutely panicked. Everyone thought, well, that's it. The bank teller is dead. But the ATM just absorbed this super friction-heavy task of counting cash and updating passbooks, Same deal with the internet and travel agents. Booking a basic flight totally lost its premium value because pulling up that info became frictionless. But here's the kicker. Those professions survived. Their human value just shifted. Bank tellers evolved to offer complex financial advice, and travel agents pivoted to curating these highly personalized, deep travel experiences. So getting commoditized is kind of normal, but I know exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking, yeah, but this time feels way different. And you're absolutely right. It feels incredibly destabilizing right now because we're going through what Yoshida calls the cognitive hollowing out. See, previous machines, they did mechanical sorting or basic data querying, but AI is stepping directly into our cognitive space. It's drafting documents, it's writing code, it's synthesizing complex research. It's literally hollowing out the exact intellectual tasks that we always believed made us so highly valuable and totally irreplaceable. Let's break down how this value is actually detaching from the job title in these traditionally safe knowledge roles. Take the engineer, for example. The sheer market value of just typing out syntax, that's dropping to zero fast. But the engineer definitely doesn't vanish. Their value shifts to system architecture and, critically, accountability, like actually deciding what needs to be built in the first place. Or think about a consultant. AI can scrape market data and spit out an 80-slide deck in seconds, so that creation value is gone. But the uniquely human value of navigating a CEO's fragile ego or reading the messy psychology of a boardroom, that value goes through the roof. Same for writers and translators. Perfect syntax is automated, but the judgment of cultural resonance and emotional impact, that's all us. Let's ground this in a real-world scenario to really see how it plays out. Just imagine a hospital AI diagnostic tool that scans your medical charts and nails your illness with 99.9% accuracy. I mean, flawless logic, right? It spits out this perfectly optimized treatment plan. Now, do you want the machine to just automatically email that to you and call it a day? No way. Absolutely not. That raw output is only half the equation. You see, we don't just want the cold data. We desperately need a human to share the emotional weight of that data. You need a human doctor to sit in that room, look you right in the eye, and say, hey, this is hard, but here is exactly how we're going to fight it together. And this brilliantly illustrates Yoshida's point about roles that are anchored in physical reality and genuine trust. He points to a super specific Japanese profession, the Takochi Tatemono Torihikishi, which is a registered real estate broker. Now today, an AI could instantly pull up property tax history, flood zones, and risk reports for a house you want to buy in like 2 seconds. But in Japan, this broker is legally required to sit across from you face to face and read through the important matters document. It's quite literally a ritual of accountability. That human broker is sitting there to stamp their seal, absorb the legal liability, and frankly, absorb your anxiety. Because true trust requires shared vulnerability. An AI can't feel shame. It can't go bankrupt. Only a human can truly participate in the actual mechanism of trust. To fully grasp why this massive shift to human-centric value is happening right now, Yoshida maps out this grand timeline of technology. And just look at the progression over the decades here. In the 1960s, mainframes entered the corporate basement to take over the heavy math. Then, in the 90s, PCs moved right onto our personal desks to handle administrative drafting. Fast forward to the 2000s, and the internet spreads across all of society, taking over information distribution. And now, the 2020s. AI isn't just entering a physical space anymore, it's entering human intellectual activity itself. The machine has basically marched out of the basement, across society, and straight into our synthesis of thought. Honestly, trying to outprocess the machine at this point is a game you're just going to lose. Because technology has reached this incredibly deep, intimate, intellectual layer, Yoshida predicts a massive surge in a whole new ecosystem of roles. He calls them bridge builders. Think of a community digital transformation facilitator, for example. You could build the most logically perfect AI system in the world, but if you drop it into a mid-sized company and a 60-year-old manager is terrified it's going to make him look obsolete, he's just going to quietly sabotage it. The technology is completely irrelevant if the sociology fails. So these bridge builders are basically diplomats. They manage the really messy friction between alien AI logic and stubborn human fear. This dynamic creates a brand new ecosystem of roles. We're talking AI adoption coordinators, literacy guides for older populations, ethics and usage role designers. Notice what all these roles have in common. None of them are the engineers coding the AI from scratch. Instead, they're the ones connecting this incredibly powerful technology with our very imperfect human society. Their entire value is translation. And I don't mean translating languages, but translating intent and building comfort. They're the ones framing the right problems to solve. And crucially, they're the ones drawing the line in the sand, deciding exactly where AI shouldn't be used at all. When you really step back and look at it this way, this whole era stops feeling like this terrifying loss, and honestly starts feeling like an incredible gift. Think about it. For the last 150 years, ever since the Industrial Revolution, the corporate world has essentially forced humans to act as biological APIs. We've been forced to memorize dry facts, grind through endless spreadsheets, and basically act as low-grade computers. While now, the actual machines are finally sophisticated enough to take those robotic tasks back. AI is stripping away the mechanical, intellectual heavy lifting. We are no longer required to act like robots. We're finally being forced into a corner where our only real option left is to rediscover our own humanity. And that brings us right to the profound philosophical heart of Yoshida's International Edition. He writes, "I do not think this question has a quick answer, and perhaps it should not. We've been so trained to value pure efficiency, right? To just get to the correct answer as fast as humanly possible. But maybe the real value of human work is actually in the inefficient, muddy process of meaning-making. It's in the struggling, the doubting, and agonizing over a tough decision with another human being. The true meaning isn't found in the raw data itself. The meaning is in the shared process of getting there." But I do want to leave you with a truly terrifying and unresolved thought to just sit with for a minute. We've established that humans have a monopoly on trust because we're vulnerable and we share burdens. But what happens when an AI becomes infinitely patient? Like when it never gets annoyed, remembers every single detail of your life flawlessly, and perfectly mimics a warm, supportive tone? What happens if it simulates human empathy so incredibly well that society decides the clean, predictable, fake empathy of a machine is just simply easier to deal with than the messy, flawed, and often rushed empathy of a real human being? If human connection is our final refuge of value, that is a deeply uncomfortable thought to face, and it leads us to the ultimate unresolved question of our time. Which parts of human work should remain human, and why? I want to invite you to take this unfinished thought with you today. When you look at your own task list tomorrow morning, really ask yourself, no matter how magical AI becomes, what is the part of this that someone specifically needs me, a flawed, vulnerable human being, to do? Thanks so much for exploring these ideas with me today, and keep questioning.